All right, it's good to see you today. This is Stephen Smotherman with Rebecca Smotherman from FulltimeFBA.com, and we're excited to talk about finding balance with your family life and your online business. This is something that we have learned a lot and struggled a lot and worked together to try to find that balance, and so we want to help you as well find that balance with your spouse, with your kids, with your life, with your online business from working from home. And so we're looking forward to being able to share what we've learned and then hear from you, maybe your stories of what you've learned and maybe some questions that we can help you out with. Just a few basics about the webinar for today. We're going to be talking about balancing your family life with your online business, and we're going to be doing about 30 minutes of content. Now, sometimes that can be long-winded, and I might go over 30 minutes. It might be shorter if I talk really fast because I do that too. But we got 30 minutes of content planned. And we'll do up to 30 minutes of Q&A following the presentation. We'll hang out, so you can expect about an hour long. I want to respect your time. That's why we start right on time. We're going to end right on time, and we're going to be able to answer the questions that are focused on the topic first. So if you have other questions, just know that those are not going to be answered. We'll be talking about the questions dealing with family life and your online business. And then at the end, we're going to be giving away over $150 in giveaways. We're going to be giving away copies of our newly updated book, Married to Reselling. We're also going to be giving away this Financial Peace University home kit, which includes all the access to the videos, a envelope system, and a book, and access to the app Every Dollar, which is a budgeting app that Rebecca and I use and really love. So we're going to be giving away this to a lucky person and a copy of our new 2017 edition Married to Reselling book. So I'm going to get started with all the content. Rebecca's going to come back later and help us out with the Q&A later. So thanks for hanging out with me, and yeah, it was fun. So I'll get started with the content, so let's get going with that. All right, so first off, who are we? Who is Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman? Why should you listen to us? Why should we be an authority on this topic? Well, let me first let you know a little bit about my story. First, here's a picture of Rebecca and I. This is a picture of our four boys, and we both work from home, but it wasn't always like that. Back in 1998, I first discovered eBay. Loved selling on eBay. It was a hobby for like a decade and was really awesome. But there came a time in 2011 that I became unemployed. I got a divorce, became a single dad, and didn't have the funds to like support myself and my kids. And I was like, how can I turn eBay into a full-time income? So I tried to do some research, tried to do eBay as a full-time income. It was just too hard. And that's when I discovered Amazon FBA. The fact that I could send all my inventory to Amazon and they would store it, and if a customer buys it, they would ship it. That like totally rocked my world and rocked my house because all that inventory was now at Amazon. So I started doing that in 2011, and in 2012, I was able to be awarded as a top holiday seller. And that means that out of all the sellers on Amazon during Q4, October, November, and December, I was ranked in the top 25% of sales, and I had over an A+ customer satisfaction rating, and it was just really awesome knowing that in my first year of selling on Amazon, I would be awarded this award. Now, 2012 just happened to be the last time Amazon offered this award, and so I was just really glad I was able to do it. But it just proves that when you start a business on Amazon, you can ramp up fairly quickly, being able to get to a part where you were in a full-time income. When I was a single dad trying to raise my 4 kids by myself, I wanted a job that I could have, that I could work from home and have the kids stay at home. I didn't have to put them in daycare. I didn't have to worry about after-school care, things like that. Or I needed to find a job where it would pay for all the daycare and after-school care. But I wanted to stay home with my kids, and so that's when I was able to finally discover Amazon FBA in 2011. And in about 6 or 7 months, I was making a full-time income with Amazon FBA. Now, in 2012, I had the opportunity to meet Rebecca, and in 2013 we got married, and it was just amazing. She's an incredible stepmom to my 4 kids, and I just really appreciate her. But when we got married, it was kind of weird because I'm working from home, and so I'm not like we didn't have the kind of job that or the situation that normal people have, where the husband or the wife goes away from work and they're separated all day, and then they come back together in the evening, and so see each other in the morning, and then the husband or the wife goes to work all day, and then the husband or the wife comes home, and maybe both the husband and the wife are working, and then they see each other in the evening. No, we were with each other all day, every day, no breaks, and then that started to cause some friction, and so we started trying to work through that friction, and we started to try to figure out how to find that balance between the family life with the 4 kids and our relationship and the Amazon FBA business. In 2013, Rebecca realized that I was spending a lot of time on Facebook, and I was answering a lot of questions in different Facebook groups of a lot of questions people had about Amazon and FBA and stuff like that. And she was like, some of your answers are like 300 words. That's like a blog post. And she was a blogger, and she's like, you need to be a blogger. You need to blog about Amazon FBA. And I was like, no, who wants to hear from me? And she encouraged me, and through her encouragement, we started full-time FBA. And our focus is to do what we do, help people turn part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA. And thanks to her encouragement and her supreme proofreading and editing skills, where she makes me sound better than I really am, we put together full-time FBA. And then, so we not only started to, I'm working all day doing reselling, but I'm also blogging. She's proofreading some of this stuff, so we're working together on the blog. But then we're also doing Amazon FBA, and I'm doing retail arbitrage, and she's learning online arbitrage, and we're dealing with returns, and so we have both sides of the business, the Amazon FBA and then blogging about Amazon FBA, but we're working together. And again, the more time you spend with anybody, the more conflict you're going to have, the more opportunities for conflict you're going to have. And so we experience that. And so so in just a second, I'm going to give you a free gift, but after that, I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we've learned working together, spending the time together, and how we can help you too. So I said a free gift. I want to make sure you have a free gift. If you're already a blog subscriber to fulltimefba.com, you already have these. But if you are not subscribed, I've got some free gifts for you. First off is a Amazon sales rank chart. This will help you make better sourcing decisions. And I also have a free book for you, Seller Central Tips. It's all about reimbursements, refunds, and how to correct other possible Amazon glitches. It's my free gift to you. If you go to fulltimefba.com/sales rank, you'll get that chart, you'll get that ebook. You might even get a few other freebies from me. But this is something that I want you to have just as my gift for you, and they will both help your Amazon FBA business. Now, in the rest of this video, I want to focus on how I can help your Amazon FBA business thrive and flourish while you're working from home and experiencing those situations with your kids and your spouse that might cause some conflict. So working from home, there's both like positives and negatives. The positive is like you are your own boss, but the negative is you're also the janitor, you're also the accountant, you're also, you're everything by working from home and being in charge of everything. There's no coworkers, no annoying coworkers, no inappropriate coworkers when you're working from home. That's always good. But the negative is there's no built-in friendships when you're working from home. It's just you. You don't have those coworkers that you like to hang out with after work. But there's also some other positives and negatives. There's you are your own boss. You get to choose and do everything that you want. But the negative is that there's no accountability. A lot of times we need a boss or a supervisor to cause us to have accountability to actually go follow through with our job tasks. But when we're working from home, there's no accountability, and so sometimes it's harder to get stuff done. So there's both positives and negatives. I Googled working from home, and some pictures came up, and I thought it was like pretty interesting. There's this picture of this woman on her wood floor, working on the computer. Her dog's, chill. She's talking on the phone. It's just so peaceful. It looks awesome. And there's this other woman. She's got her slippers on. She's talking on the phone, working on something, and got her feet propped up, just relaxing. A lot of people, when they think about working from home, they think it's just, cool and easy. But there's also some negative things that are connected with that, and we're going to talk about that in a second. When you're working from home, it impacts all of your most important relationships. It impacts your relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your family members, with your friends. It impacts your relationships, and it could be a positive impact or a negative impact, and how you handle working from home is going to result in either a positive or a negative impact. So let's first talk about the impact on your kids when you're working from home. Again, I went back to Google, working from home with kids, and I see this picture of this dad. Hey, his kid's sitting on his lap. He looks like he's getting work done. The kid's chill, Here's another picture. Okay, it's nap time, but I still got to get work done. My kid fell asleep on me. I don't want to wake them up, so I got to do whatever I can to keep work done. It could be a bit of a struggle, and then it can be really frustrating. You're trying to get work done, but the kids are like, I'm hungry. I want a snack. Bobby tore up my paper, and there's all this arguing, and you're like, how can I get work done when the kids are constantly needing my attention? I don't want to ignore the kids, but I have work that needs to get done. How can I handle that? How can I balance that? And so your reaction to working from home will impact your relationship with your kids. We'll talk more about that in a moment. It also impacts your relationship with your spouse. Here's a little comic strip that I thought was kind of funny about the stress on relationships before working at home. Guy comes home, honey, I'm home. Spouse is like, oh, hey, sweetie muckums, I missed your big squishy face. It's like they're just so lovey. But after working from home, honey, I'm home. I never left. Actually, I've always been here all day, every day. And the spouse is like, rot in hell, sweetie muckums. If I have to look at your face one more time, I'm going to barf up my intestine and use them to choke you to death. It could be that extreme sometime. Now, obviously, this is just a funny example taken to the extreme, but working from home sometimes you're like, I need a break. I need to be able to have some me time, and that is important when it comes to relationships. So we'll talk more about that in a second. So your relationship with your spouse is impacted from working from home. Also, your relationship with your friends. Like I said before, when you have coworkers at a normal job, you have built-in friendships a lot of the times. You have people that you like at your work that you hang out with, maybe hang out with after work, company parties, things like that. But when you work from home, your time with your friends are limited. Opportunities to create new friends can be limited. And same thing with extended family. When you're working from home, a lot of times you spend so much time working from home, you don't ever get out to hang out with extended family. So we all know deep down that our family should be the priority. But this is a quote from Gary Keller, author of The One Thing. Totally recommend this book. And he says this: work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. The other four balls, family, health, friends, integrity, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it will be irrevocably scuffed, nicked, perhaps even shattered. And so work is something that we can drop, and it can survive. But if we drop our family, our health, our friends, our integrity, those are things that can be damaged both a little bit and a lot. And so I want to help you in the rest of this webinar to help you find ways to prioritize your family without neglecting the work that you need to get done with your Amazon FBA business. So here's some work from home success tips. This is going to help you out in the long run to figure out that balance. Number one, create a dedicated workspace. If you could have your own work office, like an actual room, do it. Do whatever you can to do that. Just having that door where you can enter work and exit work can be really good. But if you can't do that, at least find a dedicated workspace. Maybe you have a desk that's in a corner, and you do all of your work right there in that little corner desk in your bedroom or in your dining room or somewhere in your house to be able to have a dedicated workspace. Now, don't use that space for anything except work. If you use it to, play games on your computer or surf the web on Facebook, or if you use it to sit there and read a book, or you'll start to blur the line between work and home, and you really, psychologically, with your mindset, need a dedicated workspace so that when you're there, you focus on work, and work is what gets done. Work goals are the priority, and that will help you be able to be successful. That's also when you're able to communicate that space being workspace to your spouse or to your kids. They can know, hey, if mommy or daddy is in the office, they are not to be disturbed. Now, of course, the kid's spouse, they're still going to disturb you, but you can start to set up those boundaries and create those expectations. And that goes on to the next thing. Create a work schedule. Because we work from home, sometimes we think, I'll get around to it. But the best work that's done is work that is batched together. So if you've got Amazon FBA things that you need to do on your computer, try to do it all at a specific time. If you have sourcing that you need to do to go out to stores to find inventory to sell on Amazon, find a specific time that you do that and do your best to stick to it. During the school year while the kids are in school, that might be the best time to go sourcing. When the kids are home working on their homework, that might be the best time to work on the computer aspects, either repricing or setting up shipments or things like that. So you find out what works best for you, but create a work schedule. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we think, since we work from home, we're always there, we'll get it done. But no, you need that structure. So you need a dedicated workspace, you need a work schedule, and then you need to be sure you communicate those expectations. Communicate the expectations to your spouse, to your kids, and to your friends too. I don't know about you, how many times someone's called me up, asked me for a favor, asked me to do something for them, and you're like, well, you work from home, you can just, do that later, and you're free to do anything that I want you to do because, obviously you work from home. No, you want to be able to communicate those expectations to your friends, to your family members who might be asking you for a favor. Say, hey, this time is what I've created my work schedule from, 9 to noon. I'm working on my Amazon business. From 3 to 5, I'm working on my Amazon business. You can communicate that to them and say, I'm sorry, I got to work. So when you communicate those expectations, it really helps out. You can also be sure to manage your distractions. Making sure that the TV off, that the Facebook tab on your computer is closed, that your cell phone is set to vibrate, all the different types of things that are going to distract you, because guess what? Our minds love distractions. Our minds totally seek distractions, and that can totally ruin your productivity if you set yourself up for distractions. So there are certain things that are going to distract you, and so you want to be sure that you have those distractions managed. If you're distracted by eating a snack, plan a snack time in your work schedule. That way hey, at this time I'll get my snack. I don't need to worry about that right now. Manage your distractions. That will help you be more productive with working from home. Also, you can project professionalism. What I mean by that is how you dress. Now, a lot of people say, I love working from home. I can do online arbitrage in my pajamas, and I can reprice in my boxers. Just like if you try to do some work in your pajamas, whatever, in your bathrobe or whatever, mentally, you're not going to be able to get as much work done as if you actually get dressed and be professional. Now, I'm not saying put on a suit and tie and sit at your desk in the corner and work, but just like getting dressed, that act just mentally gets your mind ready to do work when you dress professionally. And so just that's something to be thinking about. Also, you want to be sure to set up and communicate boundaries. Boundaries are huge for any adult when it comes to managing your own life, not just necessarily work or family, but just your whole life. Boundaries are huge. I have 2 books that I highly, highly recommend when it comes to boundaries with your kids and boundaries with your spouse and adults. One book is called Scream-Free Parenting. I read this book, totally revolutionized how I manage my kids and interact with my kids. And it says scream free. I'm not much of a screamer when I'm mad or upset at my kids, but it's mostly just about raising your kids by keeping your cool, by not getting mad, not getting upset, not getting angry, not getting frustrated. And this book is really, really good. Highly recommend it. It's really entertaining. Another book is called Boundaries for Kids. And this book is, in fact, this book is actually like a little spin-off from another book called Boundaries. Boundaries by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. The main book, Boundaries, revolutionized my life and how I interact with other people. And then since that book was so popular, it came out with Boundaries with Kids, Boundaries at Work, Boundaries with your spouse, Boundaries with your teenage kids, Boundaries with your neighbor. I mean, there's so many. I don't know if there's a neighbor one, but boundaries are really big, and these two books really helped me create those boundaries so that I could have a healthy relationship with my kids, with my spouse, with everyone I interact with. So you want to be sure you set up and communicate boundaries. And then finally, track your jobs and your tasks. The things that you need to get done, track them. Set up goals. Say, I want to find this much inventory by the end of the week. I want to send in at least one shipment a week, or things like that. So track those, and then track your jobs. Get a pen and paper, and you've already created a work schedule. Write down the time and what you do, and you will start to realize how much time you might be wasting by just the simple fact of getting a pen and paper and writing down the tasks that you're doing. This is good for anything in life when you're wanting to be productive and efficient. Track the jobs that you're doing, the tasks that you're doing, and you'll start to realize how often you are distracted, how often you get off task. You might not even realize it. I mean, you're like, I'm going to go over to Facebook real quick and let me check on this. Oh, that's a cute picture. I like that. And then like 20 minutes later, you're like, okay, that was probably like 5 minutes. And I'll go back to work. But it really was 20 minutes that went by. But if you were tracking your jobs and your tasks, you'll start to realize that and retrain your brain to become more productive. So those are just some work from home success tips to help you out. Let's go into your relationship with your kids. We got tons of stuff to share with you. We're going to just focus mostly on your interactions with your kids while you're working. School's out for summer. There's young kids that are around. How can you possibly involve your kids with your Amazon business so that you can still get work done and still spend some quality time with them? Little kids, they love testing electronic toys. If you have got some used toys that you're selling on Amazon as collectible, you can have them test out the electronic toys. When you're outsourcing, you can help them get items off the bottom shelf. I don't know about you, but I find tons of stuff on the bottom shelf toward the very back that people won't get on their hands and knees and try to get, that have been down there for a long time, especially on clearance aisles. And I will find stuff that I just need to dust off a little bit, and then I scan it and I realize, ooh, this has been out of stock in most stores a long time. I can make some good money on that. So help the kids. You can get the kids to bend down there for you, save your back and save your knees. They can get some of the stuff on the bottom of the shelf. You can also send them to price check scanners. Here's another tip. For clearance aisles, I would say probably about 30% of the time the clearance price sticker on the item that you're looking at is not accurate. It's actually cheaper. And so you want to, if there is a price scanner nearby when you're sourcing clearance items, you want to double check. Because you might get an item and you scan it and you're like, oh, that's not profitable, but it's not profitable for the stickered price. But if you go to the price checker and double check it, you might be able to find out that it's actually a lot cheaper, and that ROI is there, and you can get it. So you can send them to check that for you, and they like that. It's like electronic, they put the barcode underneath the little scanner, it beeps, and they come back, Mommy, it's $9.99, and you're like, ooh, this price sticker said $20. Score. I'm getting that. Also, you can have your kids move the items from the cart to the checkout conveyor belt. My kids love doing that. There's something about the conveyor belt that they just love to put stuff on there. You can teach them to sort inventory. Like if you come home from visiting, like you go to 4 different Walmarts, and you got a bunch of Walmart bags in the back of the car, you can have them bring those bags in. You can have them take stuff out and sort like items together. that's something that will be really helpful for you. You can also be sure that you involve them, but be sure you set boundaries. Again, you have time where you're needing to get work done. There's going to be time when you're going to spend time with them. Make sure you communicate that with them. There might be times where you're trying to get work done and they're like, Mommy, can you play a game with me? And your heart breaks and you're like, oh, I totally want to go play this game with them, but I need to get work done. So you can just communicate, right now Mommy's working, but in 30 minutes we'll play that game. Or, in 30 minutes my work time is over and we'll go play. So just be sure you communicate that with them. The better you communicate expectations, the better they're going to react because they know what to expect. And the better you follow through with the expectations you're communicating, then the better they're going to believe you. If you just keep saying, I'm going to do this, but you don't do it, or hey, if you don't stop this, this is your consequence, and you never give them the consequence, they're never going to believe you, and they're just going to continue to annoy you and pester you and keep asking you until they get till you break and you give them what they want. But if you communicate your expectations and you actually follow through with that, it's going to help out a lot. A little bit older kids, you can have them put the FBA labels over the UPCs. You can have them put suffocation warning labels on. If you like doing grocery items, health and beauty items, you can have them cut out all the coupons in the Sunday paper. You can have them help out with BOLOs. A BOLO stands for be on the lookout. So if you go to one Walmart and you find certain items that you like, you can say, hey, look for these items at the next Walmart. They might be able to see it. You have two, more sets of eyes looking for items. They can probably help you find some items. And if there's a price checker nearby, since they're older and more responsible, you can send them to a cashier for a price check or to the customer service desk. And then my kids love testing used games, used video games, DS games, Wii games, things like that. My kids love doing that. So that's something for you to try out too. And then for teenagers, it's a whole different story. Teenagers, you can still involve them, maybe even start to pay them for some of the work that they're doing. They can remove price stickers. They can get the Scotty peeler and the heat gun and take the price stickers off. They can actually start doing packing shipments. You have them take product photos if you're adding new inventory to the Amazon catalog. They can do research for keywords and descriptions. They can shrink wrap, polybag. My oldest kids, they shrink wrap and polybag some of the things that we sell. And then they make sure that collectible games, board games are complete. A lot of you know I like selling board games. And my kids, they like to make sure that all the collectible board games are complete. And so that's just some ideas on how to involve your kids. And the cool thing about involving your kids is it starts to teach them that hard work pays off, because if you pay your kids, either paying them a dollar amount for what they're working, maybe you pay them with one little toy that they get while they go to all the Walmart stores looking at the clearance aisles with you. But it teaches them hard work. It teaches them that they can be a work-at-home entrepreneur, and that they might not have to go work at some big company. They can actually be their own boss and take care of themselves in the future. So that's some really good stuff. So that's about ways that you can improve your relationship with your kids while still getting work done and being able to spend some time with them. Let's talk about even trickier stuff with your spouse, because here's the deal. You can kind of tell your kids what to do. You can kind of tell your kids how things are going to be. It might not be the same way with your spouse. So when it comes to your spouse, communication is the biggest key. If you just assume your spouse knows something, that's just setting yourself up for communication problems and conflict. And you know that already. So let's talk about some things. You want to be sure you communicate with your spouse. Is your Amazon business work, like legitimate work, or is it just a hobby that you're playing around with? Make sure they have those right kind of expectations. And communicate the expectations. The amount of time that you need, how the finances are going to work with your business, when you need to be gone for sourcing trips, how chores are going to get done, how things are going to be going with the kids, because your spouse might just assume you're going to get all the chores done, but you don't have time because you got a sourcing trip. Well, communicate that, hey, this chore might get done later, or I'm going to delegate this chore to one of the kids, or hey, can you please help me out by taking care of this chore while I'm going to be doing this other part of the business? And so just communicate those expectations. That'll really help you out. Communicate boundaries. Again, read the book Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend, and CLOUD, Cloud and Townsend, and be able to communicate those boundaries with your spouse about how things are going to be, and obviously not in a controlling or dictator type of way, but in a conversation where you work through those things together. Communicate your business plan, your goals, your activities. A lot of times spouses might not totally understand what this whole work at home thing is, what your Amazon business thing is like. Try to just communicate this with you. Say, this is my business plan for my Amazon business. These are the goals that I have. These are the activities. That's one of the things that happened with me and Rebecca. Before, I was doing garage sales and thrift stores, and I was going to clearance sales and retail arbitrage, and Rebecca was just watching me. And one day she was like, hey, would it help if I helped you take some of these stickers off? And so we put in a movie and spent the rest of the evening taking stickers off of retail arbitrage finds, and I started to talk to her and introduce her to the business and what I've been doing, my activities. I asked her if she would read Chris Green's book Arbitrage, which kind of introduced the whole idea of buying low and selling high on Amazon, and we just started that conversation. And after that, she started to understand and get it, and then even started volunteering to do parts of the job, and now it's flourishing where she's doing all of her online arbitrage, I'm doing our retail arbitrage and wholesale. But that didn't happen overnight. That took, over 3 years to work into, but it all happened because of conversations. Now, I'm not saying just talking to your spouse is going to automatically, they're going to start taking over part of your business and expanding your business and totally understanding everything, but communication is the key, and those little conversations over time will add up to a better understanding. Make sure, no matter what, your spouse and your kids know that they are most important. Now, that's not just done by words, by saying, oh, honey, I appreciate you and you're very important. It's also done by the things that you do, by closing up work early to spend some time with your spouse, by making sure that they know that they're more important, that you want to hear about their day and not just tell them about the really cool thing that you found at Tuesday morning that you're going to be able to make $200 on. And so make sure that your spouse knows. And again, continued conversations are the key. And over time, that understanding helps you with your relationship with your spouse for them to be able to find that better understanding. So those are just some of the tips and tricks that have helped Rebecca and I, and we've been able to help a lot of people with their marriage and their relationship with their kids while still being able to have a thriving Amazon FBA business. I do want to remind you that we've got a sale going on right now. If you go to fulltimefba.com/married, this course is on sale. It's priced at $40, but we got it on sale for $27 right now. But if you use the coupon code BALANCE, you can save an additional $10. So you can get an 85-plus page book for $17, which also includes over 80 minutes of training and so much more. Married to Reselling, Balancing Your Family Life with Your Online Business. It's going to help you with so many other areas, because we talk about what happens if your spouse is clueless about your business. What happens if your spouse thinks you should, quit this and get a real job? What happens with your kids if they're not wanting to do the things that you're wanting them to do so that you can be able to get things done? We talk about budgeting conversations by doing a separate work budget from a family budget and how to handle those situations and so much more. And so, in fact, some of the bonuses are some videos. One bonus is 5 ways to balance married life with your online business. That's bonus number 1. Bonus number 2, 6 ways to work from home and still be a great parent. Bonus number 3 is a video 7 keys to working successfully with your spouse as a reseller. The book also has a chapter specifically for your spouse. If they don't understand it, this chapter might help them. It's a letter to them about why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing it, and maybe it will help them understand. There's also parts in the book that talks about training your spouse. I mean, does the idea of training your spouse to work with your online business kind of freak you out? Well, we're going to walk you through how to do that in a way that is really, really good in the long run for you and your relationship with your spouse. There's a lot of things that we've got for you, over 85 pages, over 80 minutes of video, and and it's something that we're excited about. We've been able to help a lot of different people. We got some testimonials from people. I'm going to read these testimonials, and then I'm going to go into the giveaway and then the Q&A. So just stay tuned for that. I don't know if you know about Brian Vinu. Some people know him as Beaver. He said, when I first heard about Married to Reselling, I was a bit perplexed. A relationship book from the full-time FBA guy. But once I read the book, I really think it fits well with his area of expertise, which is being a full-time reseller. Having transitioned full-time, many of the concerns I had and the conversations we had as a family are covered in this book. When I first thought about being a full-time reseller was a possibility, I was a bit afraid to tell my wife. It seemed equivalent to saying, I'm leaving the world of software to join the circus. This book helped me realize when to turn off the reseller and the Facebook and be present with my family. And so you can go to fulltimefba.com/married to be able to see more of the testimonials, but we're just really encourage you to check this out. Check out that webpage and see what else is offered in the course, and it's something that's going to help you with your business. Now, I do want to do a quick giveaway. I'm going to bring my wife in here now. I do want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to do the giveaway. Let me go over here to our attendees. And all right, so Rebecca, I want you to give me a number between 1 and 40. We're first going to be giving away a copy of the Married to Reselling course. So, but number between 1 and 40.
17.
17. Hey, that's my favorite number. So, Judy Wiseman is the winner of this. Judy, congratulations. You won a copy of Married to Reselling. And then now we're going to give away a copy of Financial Peace University. This is something that Rebecca and I have both used, gone through. We've done it separately, we've done it together, and it's really helped us get out of debt, stay out of debt, and start building wealth. And it's really good. I could do a whole infomercial on it, but I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. So give me another number between 1 and 40.
24.
24. Okay. Let's see. LaMonica Smith. Congratulations, LaMonica. You've won Financial Peace University. And so both of you, Julie, LaMonica, send me a message on Facebook and reach out to me, and I'll be sure to get those items to you. And we just really appreciate you hanging out with us today and doing this webinar. And now we're going to open up to Q&A. So I'm going to go over to the questions, and we're going to start seeing what kind of questions we have, and then Rebecca and I are going to answer those questions. And then Rebecca, I think, scoot a little closer. I don't bite.
I can't see that.
I know it's not showing us, but it's just my excuse to get you a little closer.
I thought it was on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. The first question, and Rebecca will help me out with this. My spouse thinks I should quit this and get a real job. How do I handle that? You want to handle this one, or you want me to?
I don't want to answer the first one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my spouse says I should quit this and get a real job. Again, we talked about the communication being very important with relating to your spouse about this. And first off, I know it's probably really frustrating that you feel that way. But I guess they're having frustrations too if they're bold enough to say you need to get a real job. And so I guess it's a good time to start communicating little by little, not with any type of lecture or anything, little by little about how this is a real job, how you're treating it like a real job, how you've got your dedicated workspace, you got your hours, you got your goals, you've got a financial plan, you've got the things that you're working on for your business, and you've got results. You've got disbursements coming in, you've got money that you're making, and so it's good to be able to communicate that with your spouse so they can start to see it's not just a hobby, it's something that you're doing a good job with.
And I would just think to add to that, I know for me when we first got married, I kind of was coming from a background where I had, regular income every month for years and years and years, and so then to step into a lifestyle where the income was irregular and you had to depend on certain different variables, and throughout the year, Q4 drove me absolutely crazy because everything those first few years was like, well, we don't have as many sales now, but come Q4, it's going to be amazing. And, that first year especially, I was like, why should I believe that? And so I think understanding when people have that perspective of, I wish you had a real job, that there's this insecurity that, a lot of people might have when they're not used to irregular income or just the ups and downs throughout the year that come with this kind of a business. And so understanding that and being supportive of that and helping to, like you said, to communicate, but also just to understand where is that frustration or that desire coming from, and that it might not be from anger or, disapproval, but it might be just from insecurity and just this desire to be stable, and yeah, being able to show a business plan and being able to show consistency and planning and having an emergency fund. That was a huge deal for me, having buffer in some margin in our bank account, so that, okay, well, if we don't have as great of sales this month as we planned, we've got margin to cover that. We've got a buffer, and those kind of things really go a long way in helping a spouse to be on the same page with you and to be more accepting and supportive of the business.
Yeah. And like we said before, just to keep the conversation going, there's no way one conversation is going to solve all this. So little by little and over time, things will get better. Joseph says, how do I get divorced from reselling and get married to a nice woman? You're pretty funny, Joseph. Thank you for that question. It is possible to be married to reselling and married to a beautiful, nice woman, so you can do that. That's totally allowed. So anyway, so another question: what's the best way to help my spouse understand the difference between business money and personal money? So again, that's a good question, because a lot of times your spouse might start seeing this money coming in and might be thinking, oh, we can pay off the debt, or oh, we can get a new car payment going on, or oh, I can finally replace that microwave or something, and you're like, I'm at the point where I need to reinvest everything in my business to kind of get this snowball going. It can be kind of tricky, and so. Again, communication is important to kind of talk about goals and talk about your plans, but also compromise is in the possibility too, where if communicating to your spouse about the importance of reinvesting everything you can when you're first starting your business isn't sinking through, it might be a good opportunity to maybe think about a compromise where, a small portion of what you bring in can go to family expenses or dreams or goals or whatever you have as a family, but having the majority going back into your business is preferred. But then again, talking through that to be able to help them to understand how reinvesting back into your Amazon business pays off in the end, especially Q4 like we were just talking about.
And I was going to add to that too, 'cause, yeah, I agree that maybe coming up with some type of compromise, or going up with some people do a percentage for what they pay themselves. We do it differently. We don't do a percentage of our sales or income. We do more like a flat amount that we do per month for our personal income. But some people do a percentage of their sales, their revenue, or profits, I guess, that they take out for personal income. And I think one big step towards helping to kind of clear up some confusion over that, I don't know if you talked about this already, is having business and personal bank accounts, so that there's not all of this money coming in from Amazon disbursements that has to be kind of earmarked as, oh, we can't use that for the vacation fund, or we can't use that to pay this, the car payment or whatever. But if it's in a separate business account and it's not taken out until you are paying yourself a personal a paycheck, then that kind of helps clear up some of that confusion as well.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I didn't talk about that before, but even if you're not having issues with your spouse, you definitely need a different account for your business money than from your personal money. when it comes to taxes, to knowing whether or not you're being successful or not, the whole thing, you need separate accounts for both of those, and so that's a good one. Let's see. Okay, what are some ideas on how to train my spouse to join my Amazon FBA business? Well, we've kind of had a little bit of experience with that in a couple different ways. I when I was first starting to resell, I would take Rebecca with me on garage sales, and she was like, that's nice. That's not really my thing. But thrift stores, on the other hand, were really good. So I was able to kind of walk her through. Do you remember how that went down? How I tried to train you when it comes to trying to find stuff to sell on Amazon?
Are you talking about like actually in a thrift store or?
Anything like that, yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember like the very first thing that I remember going to garage sales with you and just being miserable because I felt like you're passing up all this great stuff. He was looking for new items or for books only, and I was looking at all the other things that I would normally look for at a garage sale, like antiques or fun furniture or whatever, and that's not what we're there for, and that frustrated me, and I had to make a mindset shift because I still, at that point, just wasn't really sure what we were supposed to be doing. Then I remember you had me read Chris Green's book Arbitrage, and that was kind of life-changing for me because I was like, oh, this is what it's all about. Okay, now I get it. It's not about just finding junk at garage sales. And then I remember I think you had me start just scanning stuff around the house just for practice, so I was going around finding anything with a barcode and scanning it with my phone, trying to figure out, okay, what is this? What category is it? What's the sales rank? Just basic stuff like that. And then kind of shadowing you again after I had some type of box to put all that information in my brain, going back to garage sales and doing that. And then eventually got to where I was going to thrift stores on my own and had a little cheat sheet that you printed out for me. And it was just kind of step by step getting to where I felt comfortable going out and not having to call or text or send you screenshots and say, should I get this or not? What is this? And there were times that I bought stuff that I got it back and it was like, oh, sorry, shouldn't have got that. But, at that point it was, when you're thrifting and you're only spending like $1 on stuff, it's not as big a deal to make mistakes like that. But those are the things that I remember. I don't even remember what the original question was now, but that's what I remember about the process of being the spouse that was trained to join the business back then.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in any type of situation when you're with your spouse, when you're trying to teach them something that they don't know, obviously patience plays a huge part of it. And to be patient with them, with learning, and for the learner to be patient with the teacher, because they might not be the best teacher for that particular topic. And so that's why I gave her the book Arbitrage by Chris Green, because I know that he explains it really well in the book, and she understood it from there, and it kind of springboarded us into actually going out and finding items around the house and then going to retail stores and thrift stores and things like that. But yeah, patience is important, and then being okay with the other person making a mistake was also really big. Just having that mental understanding that, okay, I make mistakes. I need to not be frustrated or mad when she picks up something and buys something that's not going to sell, or she thought it was in new condition but it really wasn't in new condition or something like that. Just how I would hope she would be patient with me for the mistakes that I would make. She just didn't know I'm making those mistakes because she hasn't learned those lessons yet. But now, I mean, there's been times where it's been switched around where I taught her how to do retail arbitrage and finding inventory, and then fast forward a year later, I'm bringing something home via retail arbitrage, and she's like, "Why did you buy that? That's not gonna sell. It's like ranked 400,000 in toys." Why? And I'm like, "Oh, she's schooling me now." But it's just, and I mean, she was being funny about it. She wasn't like really, raising her voice at me. I hope that I explained that well. But just having that kind of patience and understanding again that the spouse is more important than the Amazon business. Your spouse is more important than the money you're going to make. That the spouse is more important than the money you're going to lose that you're getting mad about, and making sure that they know and they understand that. So hopefully that will give you some ideas when it comes to training your spouse.
Patience.
Patience.
Patience is
yes.
key.
All right, let's see if we got any other questions here. I think that's it. So we are going to close up the webinar. Thanks again for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Again, use the coupon code BALANCE to save $10 off of the course, fulltimefba.com/married. We know it's going to help you. It's helped a lot of other people. You can read more testimonials, read through the table of contents on that link to find out more about this course, and look forward to hearing your success story from it.
I don't know if you've talked about, like, there's all sorts of discussion questions and things like that.
Oh, I haven't.
In the course.
Go ahead.
That was part of my favorite part of putting this book together, was the discussion questions that we have, at the end of each chapter, and it's something that you can either talk about with your spouse if you're married, or if you're in an accountability group, or you have an accountability partner that's in this business that you can kind of chat about some of these things with. I don't know, it's things that Stephen and I like to talk about. We like to talk a lot to each other, and it's things that we like to talk about and kind of make sure that we're on the same page and make sure that we're communicating well. And so we have discussion questions at the end of each chapter, and then there's also a chapter at the end of the book, because it's important, if you are not married to somebody who is in the Amazon business and the reselling business, then they might be coming from this perspective of not at all understanding what this is like. And so there's a section at the end of the book as well that's written specifically for a spouse who is not a reseller. And just to kind of get communication started, there's some really great bonuses and discussion question type things.
Yeah, I mean, have you noticed a theme throughout this is communication, and this course is going to help you through that process, giving you the questions, giving you the topics, and we wish we could hang out with y'all and have those conversations with you.
Wouldn't it be fun to have a little small group and we could talk?
Yeah, we can have our own little Married to Reselling book club and stuff, so that would be fun. But anyway, that's going to be it. I'm going to stop the recording pretty soon. If you have any questions about this course, you can go to fulltimefba.com/Facebook. That's our Facebook group. You can ask questions about anything there, and there's a ton of people there who are wanting to help out, answer your questions, and have really good discussions about it. So thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate that. Thanks for hanging out with me during this time doing the Q&A. It's been a lot of fun, and God bless everybody. Bye.
Bye.